Welcome to Dad Bake. I'm a dad. I bake. Today we're going to be making some artisan bread. And it's really easy, really simple, 4 ingredients, super delicious. Let's get started. First thing we're going to need is a scale because we measure everything because we're professionals. Honestly, it just makes everything easier. So I'm going to get my bowl. I'm going to zero it out. Got my re-zero it out because I had the bread whisk in there. Okay, so first thing we're gonna need is to do all of our dry ingredients. So we're gonna need our flour at 450 grams. Almost there. Perfect. Just get with it like that. Second, we're gonna need 7 grams of yeast. Perfect. And 10 grams of salt. I use pink Himalayan salt because I think it tastes better, but you can use regular salt as well. Perfect. When you're good, you're good. What can I say? Next, we're gonna mix all this together in our bowl. We can remove the scale. Mix it together in the bowl. And then next thing we're gonna do is slowly pour water, which should be warm water at 120 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius because I'm an American. And anyways, we're going to pour slowly and just mix up our dough together. And so on. It's 360 grams of water, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. But then we're just going to stir this until everything is incorporated. Make sure we scrape all of our sides of the bowl so that way there's no dry flour missing, right? All right, almost there. Scrape all the sides, make sure everything is in the center of the bowl. Because then next, what we're going to do is put a cover over it and let it proof for about an hour and a half-ish or a little bit more until it's about doubled in size. Also, I just figured I should probably show you what the dough looks like. So it should look like that, right? Well incorporated, doughy, sticky, nice. And then, all right, we're back. After our dough is proofed, you see it's doubled in size. We are ready to start our folding process. So what I like to do is I take a little bit of bread flour and I put it in a bowl, right? That way I can flour my fingertips. That way the dough doesn't stick to it. Basically, it just helps keep things clean. So get that done. So then what we're gonna do, right, is we're gonna go to the far edge. Dig it up, 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 dig it up. Right? We're gonna pull and we're gonna fold over. Like that. Like that, right? Then you're gonna turn it 90 degrees. Get a little bit more flour in my hands and do that again. stretch it out, fold over, rotate 90 degrees. We're gonna do this 8 times minimally, but really you should do it until you can feel the gluten in the bread start to activate, and it'll start to get like more bouncy, right? So we're gonna pull, stretch, fold. Now this is our 8th time, and I am getting that good stretch in my dough. Okay, now that our dough is holding like a ballish shape and is very bouncy, the gluten has been activated, we're then going to take some flour, sprinkle it on the counter, right? And then we're going to take our dough, plop, all right? From there, we're going to start forming our dough, right? If you got to repowder your hands, it makes it a lot easier. All right. Once we got the shape of our dough pretty much good, I'm gonna take a sheet of parchment paper, right? I always flour my hand so it doesn't stick to it, right? And I sprinkle a little bit on the parchment paper just cause, right? We're going to take our dough, scoop and plop it right in the center of the parchment paper. So that's what our dough should look like. It should be round, it should be smooth. Once our dough is like this, I'm going to stick another cloth over it. I'm actually going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on the top. That way the rag doesn't stick. Put it over it and let it proof for another 15 minutes. I forgot to mention this. Meanwhile, while you were doing your whole fold and stretch and everything, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 450 degrees and put your Dutch oven pot in there and let that thing get screaming hot. Okay, all right, so now that we've let this proof for another 15 minutes, our oven is preheated to 450. Our cast iron, which is right here, red handle, is very, very hot, so be careful not to touch that, but it is ready, it's screaming hot. We're going to undo our towel. If you have a bread lane, great. If not, a really sharp knife could possibly work. We are just going to make a 1/4 inch slice right down the middle. Like that. And that's it. Our bread is done, and now it is ready to bake. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the lid off, right? And we are going to pick up our bread. And stick it right in the center of the Dutch pot. like so. Put our lid on and let it bake for 30 minutes with the lid on. Then we're going to take the lid off and let it bake for another 15 minutes to get that golden brown crust. Okay, now that our bread is done baking, we will grab just the parchment paper. Be careful as to not, see, it'll rip. So just try to get a good firm hold on it and transfer it to a cutting board or a cooling rack, whatever you have. I don't have a cooling rack, so I'm using a cutting board. Okay, so now that it's cooled down, this is what our loaf looks like. Perfect loaf. Look at that undercarriage. Perfect. Now, let's cut open. Look at that, airy pockets. Dang. It's so good.